We are in weather watch alert mode for some of the worst air quality that Connecticut has ever seen. We're going to take a look at when the air clears up coming up.
Also tonight on Connecticut's news station, 2 officers fired nearly a year after a man was paralyzed while in police custody. We have the new developments in the case of Randy Cox.
And Connecticut's legislative session is wrapping up tonight. We'll tell you what state lawmakers are working on in their final hours.
Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, begins with a weather watch alert.
And we begin tonight tracking the heavy smoke from Canadian wildfires covering Connecticut tonight. Here's a look at the smoke forecast from the Weather Watch Center. Air quality issues expected to linger from those wildfires tomorrow. Good evening, I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. Thank you so much for joining us. That smoke is coming from hundreds of miles away in the Canadian province of Quebec. Not only are we getting the smoke, but most of the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic is as well. Here's a look at conditions in Hartford earlier today. During a hazy sunrise in the capital city. A little further south, the smoke covered New York City's Times Square, causing dangerous air quality issues in the Big Apple. That was also the case in Philadelphia, where the smoke postponed tonight's Phillies game. Further inland, upstate New York cities like Binghamton also saw haze as the smoke crossed the state's northern border.
An eerie look here. Here's a live look at Hartford tonight as the smoke continues to linger this evening. The air unhealthy out there, even for people without issues breathing. It's creating a pretty smoky smell in the air and reducing visibility. The worst air quality is south and west of the city of Hartford tonight. And you can bet we have live team coverage of the Canadian wildfire smoke here in Connecticut. Fox 61's Jake Garcia joining us live in New Haven, where the haze remains thick. But first here, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. Rachel, when is it possible for this smoke to clear up?
We will start to get some improvement as we head through the day tomorrow, especially during the afternoon. But I still think the air quality will be poor throughout the day tomorrow and off and on right into your Friday. But every day will get a little bit better than the day before it. It might not be until the weekend that we completely get the smoke out of here. So what about the impact from this weather watch alert? You may want to continue tomorrow to limit any strenuous activity outside and keep your windows closed. Here's a look at the current air quality, and I have to tell you tonight, it is Philadelphia that is getting some of the worst air quality, not just in the country, but in the entire world. It's actually 3 times as bad in Philadelphia than it is right now in the city of Hartford. The worst air quality in areas south and west of Hartford, where it's not just unhealthy or very unhealthy, but in Bridgeport, hazardous levels of that wildfire smoke in the air, those particulates, but it is unhealthy all across the state. It is better to the north and east of Connecticut, though. Heading through the evening tonight, we remain with those high levels of pollutants in the air. Heading into tomorrow morning, it's still pretty smoky, and as we head through the afternoon, we'll start to see some relief and less smoke, especially in the northern half of the state. But I did want to show you this. Off and on, even into Friday, we still have at least some smoke in the air. So it's not fully cleared out over the next couple of days, but at least baby steps towards improvement. Chance for a shower or two in the afternoon tomorrow. Highs in the 60s. Change in the weekend forecast. Not just breathing easier, but June temperatures too. We'll explain coming up. A lot to look forward to with the weekend, Rachel. Thank you. And the smoke from the Canadian wildfires is causing many people to cancel their plans outdoors because of the poor air quality. Despite that, though, some people are still outside tonight. Fox 61's Jake Garcia joins us live in New Haven, where the smoke remains pretty thick this evening. Jake.
Yeah, Jen, just in the past 15-20 minutes, we've seen a little bit of improvement. And I know it may be hard to see on camera, but we can still see some of that haze in the night lights behind me. But across the state, many people still venturing outside during the smoke, but doctors issuing some warnings tonight.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, I can smell it every day. You can see it in the air.
Depending on where you live in the state, the smoke from the Canadian wildfires was either a light haze.
Here in East Hampton, I mean, you can smell it, you can see it, but it's not like it's to the point where you can't do anything.
Or thick smog. People like Megan Stone traveled to the shoreline to try and escape the smoke, but those people were met with hazier conditions.
The last time we were here was a crystal clear day. You could see across to Long Island Sound, and now you can barely even see the houses across the way.
Dr. Doug Breggy, who chairs the Department of Public Health at UConn School of Medicine, says people need to take this smoke seriously.
I think especially people who are vulnerable, young children, people with asthma, elderly people, someone who has cardiovascular disease or respiratory diseases, COPD. I think they should take it seriously and they should protect themselves from this. These are very, very high levels of air pollution, which almost never seen in the Northeast here.
Dr. Breggy says experts expect an increase in fatalities in some of the more hazardous areas in the coming weeks.
We know that even at levels below the federal national ambient air quality standard that they kill some people. And when it reaches this level, which is more like Beijing or Delhi or Tehran, we know that it kills many more people.
Now, the city of New Haven has actually opened up a place of refuge for people needing to escape these potentially dangerous conditions. Now, it's located at 200 Orange Street. It's open until tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. After that time, people can use the city's public libraries to escape the outdoors. Live in New Haven, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Jake, thank you very much. The Canadian wildfire smoke also causing problems in the world of sports. The poor air quality pushed tonight's Yankees home game against the Chicago White Sox to tomorrow. Games were also postponed for the WNBA's New York Liberty and a women's soccer match for the NJNY Gotham FC. The smoke also sidelined some high school sports in our state as well. The Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference postponed several state championships this afternoon because of the poor air quality. That includes the boys and girls lacrosse tournaments, as well as the tennis championships as well. The CIAC is working to reschedule the games and matches for tomorrow.
Just reaching out to our doctors, making sure we have the best information possible, thinking of the nature of the activities that are taking place today and what's in the best interest and safety of our kids.
The girls' golf state championships teed off this morning before the CIAC made the call to postpone the rest of today's events. The lacrosse and tennis championships are set to continue tomorrow, but they could be pushed back yet again if the air quality doesn't get any better. Our coverage continues of the Canadian wildfire smoke in just about 10 minutes here. For complete coverage and some tips on how you can stay safe when you're outside, go to fox61.com or go to the free Fox 61 News app. It's a busy night. We are following breaking news here tonight as 2 New Haven police officers have been fired nearly 1 year after a man was paralyzed while in their custody.
Last June, Randy Cox was injured in the back of a New Haven police transport van. Fox 61's Brent Harden joins us in the Breaking News Center with the new developments for us tonight. Brent.
Jen and Ben, 2 of the 5 officers charged in this case were fired tonight after a special meeting for New Haven's Board of Police Commissioners. Jocelyn Lavendier and Luis Rivera were let go. 4 commissioners voted in favor of their dismissals, 2 abstained and none opposed. Now, this comes after Chief Carl Jacobson recommended that all 5 officers in the case be fired. In a statement, Mayor Justin Elicker says tonight's vote is another step toward accountability and justice for the Cox family. About a year ago today, Officer Oscar Diaz was driving the van carrying Cox and it stopped short, causing Cox to crash into the back of the van. Lavendier and Rivera were among 4 officers involved in handling Cox afterward. They're accused of mocking him and dragging him by his feet to a holding cell before he was eventually taken to a hospital. All 5 officers in the case pleaded not guilty in January to reckless endangerment and cruelty misdemeanors. The potential firings of 2 other officers, Oscar Diaz and Sergeant Betsy Segui, were not voted on because their attorney is sick. Their cases were postponed to June 28th. Here in the Breaking News Center, Brent Harden, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station. Jen and Ben, back to you.
All right, Brent, thank you. We'll do a 10 here tonight at the state capitol. The state's legislative session ends in less than 2 hours.
Yeah, after passing the budget yesterday, lawmakers are working late tonight to pass some final bills. Fox 61's Gabby Molina joins us live at the Capitol tonight to explain some of those final pieces of legislation. How's it going, Gabby?
Ben and Jen, the final countdown is on here at the state capitol. Less than 2 hours left of this legislative session, and it's one that's been marked by bipartisanship, something that leaders here say sets Connecticut apart from other states. As the clock ticks on this legislative session, lawmakers are working down to the final second.
It is busy until the stroke of midnight.
Both the State House and Senate taking up some final bills Wednesday to wrap up several months of working together, Democrats and Republicans, to pass legislation. From the beginning stages,
It's nice to see the bipartisan, working together. One thing I always stress is in all of our committees, they really are bipartisan. We work together.
To the final votes.
We hold this lightning in a bottle on a yearly basis, and you have to renew that commitment to work together. It is not, it's not guaranteed in the future.
This session, several significant pieces of legislation were passed, including the state budget, which creates the largest income tax cut in the state's history.
We have made our income tax more progressive by reducing the tax at the lower end, the lower tiers of the income tax. That's an important breakthrough in our 30-year effort to make the income tax more progressive.
Among some of the other bills passed, a bill that allows for the killing of bears in some circumstances and creates a fine for the intentional feeding of bears, early voting, and the most comprehensive gun safety legislation in more than a decade.
We always want to be responsive to the needs of the people at a given time and raise legislation that we're hearing about from our constituents and that we think will be important policy for the people of our state.
While other issues did not make it, like paid sick days and a rent cap, lawmakers say having the funds to make things happen this session was key.
You could focus on priorities and what positive impact do you want to have on the state of Connecticut versus how do we make ends meet.
As of this evening, Governor Lamont has already signed 34 bills into law. He's set to address the General Assembly here in the House chamber behind me just after midnight tonight. Live at the state capitol, Gabby Molina, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.